All right, I'm going to start putting in my weekly pages. I don't think I'm going to have time to add anything from my power sheets on top of what I've already got going on. It's already going to be a pretty strapped tight day. I'm not even sure when I'm going to edit this video. Let's just put it that way. Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, April 2nd. It is Plan As You Go month, where I show how I use my bullet journal, my Erin Condren, and my power sheets in tandem for an entire month. And oh my goodness, you guys left so many questions on yesterday's video, like over 20 of them, I think. For those of you who are new here, I've explained what Plan As You Go is, and one of the things I do during Plan As You Go is answer questions, is to keep the conversation going while I am planning. So what I'm going to do today is not take any new questions so that I can answer about half of them today and half of them tomorrow, because as you'll see, I have a couple of phone calls I need to be on shortly. My voice keeps deciding to go away on me. I don't have unlimited time to ramble at you about these questions, but I do want to get to all of them because they're all really good questions. We will resume taking questions in Wednesday's video. Today is also the start of the 100-day project. I will talk more about that, as that is one of the questions that you guys had. Let's go to my power sheets and check off what I got done yesterday. Looking at my monthly tending list, I actually did probably at least half of this. I meant to do it all yesterday, but I have been doing the Analyze Your Analytics course from my friend Gia over at Marriage and Motherhood, and it is fascinating, and I am now buried in spreadsheets and really getting a good look at all of my analytics, which is something I've always wanted to do, but I've just never understood how to do it, and her course is fantastic. This is not sponsored, but I do have an affiliate link. But if you are a YouTuber and you're at all confused, especially about the new Studio Beta, which is what she uses for this course, I'll leave a link to her course down below, and if you want to get a coupon for 50% off, use that link and use the code Llama Letters. But I swear, this is not me shilling. I'm not done with the course yet, full disclosure, but I am most of the way through it, and it is already well worth the price I paid for it. So just wanted to say that. I also got a little further ahead on this. So yeah, I'm getting some work done up in this business. In the weekly tasks, I did family plan time with Jesse last night, which was nice. We weren't even thinking about doing it very often with just the two of us, but it actually was really helpful. Allegedly, I'm cooking with asparagus tonight. We'll see how that goes. Down in my daily action items, I did not do morning pages yesterday or today, and I actually wanted to do them today, and I was all prepared to get up, and then the cat puked in the middle of the night, and Jesse and I had to both get up and help clean it up because he wound up stepping in it because he didn't see it, and it had kind of tracked. So we were both up. I'm sorry, talking about puke, but we both were up cleaning it up, and then we both kind of collapsed back into bed, and so we're now both like exhausted. It was one of those like when you get up at night with a baby, except it was a cat barfing everywhere. I did do my skincare last night. We have not figured the gym thing out. I have not done Headspace, although I'm going to look at the Calm app because it's been recommended. So I got a few things done. Not bad for the first of the month. And speaking of the first of the month, I have a question that pertains to that. Well, the question is from Becky, and she asked, did you do any April Fool's jokes? Do pranks get on your nerves? Pranks don't get on my nerves. I actually can get kind of amused by pranks, but I don't really do April Fool's jokes, and I have a very specific reason for that. I don't believe I just closed this. I actually need this open. This is how distracted I am right now, my friends. The one April Fool's Day prank that really worked, like we really convinced people, was the year my ex-husband and I, when we were working for the same Trader Joe's, convinced everyone we were getting a divorce. And now we're divorced. So maybe a part of me is worried about like karma. I don't know. It felt, I guess apparently I'm superstitious. Superstitious enough to not do April Fool's jokes. So I did not update this. I did do almost all of this. I did this. I did this. I did most of that. I went to the post office. Fuck yeah. I did not send the podcast emails. So looking at this, what do we got? We have the 100-day project. We have the 2 phone calls. I have to go to the pharmacy and pick up some meds. I have a patron live at 4 p.m., which is actually going to be when I do my 100-day project. So I want to finish my Q1 analysis today, and that may take up the rest of the day. I also have a couple of really important emails to respond to. Maybe those are the 2 things I'm going to put in here for today. Threw this urgent sticker on here because these emails are urgent, and then finishing the Q1 analysis, and that's likely going to be the most of it. Stephanie asked me if I can elaborate on the 100-day project and what I will be doing. If you are interested in it, I would suggest going to the website. I actually watched one of the introduction videos. It's long, but with Lindsay Jean Thompson, who is facilitating it this time, and she actually talked about how there are ways to determine what you want to do based on what you want to get out of it. Do you want to create something? Like some people want to come out of it with stuff for a portfolio, so they choose what they want to do with their 100-day project based on building stuff for a portfolio. Other people might want to finish a book or something. Some people want to learn a new skill or get better at something. That's what I actually want to do, which is why I am choosing what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is 100 days of real ass flowers is what I'm calling it. I love to draw flowers. I love drawing flowers, but I draw them like mostly from my brain. And so they're not completely real. And there's not like, I've sort of invented flowers that are similar, but not the same as real flowers. So I want to spend some time drawing flowers from life, whether actual like living flowers or pictures of flowers or whatever. And I can paint them, I can sketch them, I can charcoal them, I can do whatever I want to create them like artistically, which is one of the reasons I did it that way, because I wanted to not be limited to just painting, because when I travel, I found that it's harder for me to paint. And that was what stopped me from finishing my 100-day project last year. I want to get better at drawing realistic flowers, so that's why I'm doing the thing the way I'm doing it. I did not take a painkiller. I was actually doing pretty good yesterday. Woohoo! All right, today's doodle is my boy Patrick Starr. And while I'm doodling Patrick, I guess I'll answer a couple more questions. At least I'll try to. Sometimes I wonder if that's a good idea because I start getting stressed out about answering questions while doodling, but we'll see. This question is from XOXLiss. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. It said, what spec do you play on your Tauren Druid and what pets are you on the hunt for? I am catching up on a bunch of pets because I did not play for several years. The goal I have right now is to level enough pets to take on the Celestial Tournament. That's what I want to do. And I play a Balance Druid. I am a Moonkin or a Boomkin. I have played Resto as well. I love healing, but because I've been doing a lot of solo content, healing's just not been my thing lately. My husband also plays a druid, but he prefers kitty druid. All of you who don't like WoW are like, time to tune out. Now, Lauren Lindsay asked a question that I was like, I need to really think about, and I'm still not sure if I have an answer for it, but I figure I will do my best. Her question was, which of your channels, like the podcast and YouTube, is my favorite? As in, if you could only do one for the rest of your life, what would it be? And I'm not going to count Patreon in this, not just that I get money from Patreon. I actually really highly enjoy what I do on Patreon. That's something that like makes me really happy, and I would do Patreon forever. But when it comes to the things that are like not Patreon, man, it's hard to say. Like, I absolutely love YouTube. YouTube is likely my favorite. But I feel like if I had to pick one, I might have to pick the podcast, because I feel like long term, the podcast would be easier for me to continue doing in the future. I don't know. It's hard to say. I like them both. I would argue YouTube is probably my ultimate favorite because it's where I started and I love it. I think Instagram would be the easiest one for me to give up. Not because I don't like Instagram, but because I haven't quite figured out a good way to get really deep on Instagram besides Instagram stories, whereas the podcast and the YouTube channel, I can get really like into the weeds and close to you guys in terms of conversations, and that's just something that's difficult for me on Instagram. Elizabeth asked me if I'd switch from Pilot Fineliners to Le Pen. No, I'm testing these this month. They're not like a favorite. I actually am not a huge fan of these so far. They're okay, but they're not like fabulous. I have other Fineliners I like more than these. I actually love my Pilot Fineliner, but I will say it smears on the Archer and Olive if you're not careful. So if that's what you're looking for, that may not be the best pen for that. I don't have any problems with the 01 smearing on this. I think that it's just a question of really inky pens. So the less bold and the finer tip to your pen, so an 01 of whatever, Micron's Spectrum Noir, whatever, is going to be the least likely to smear, because the Pilot Fineliners are bold. So a finer tipped pen is going to be less apt to smear on this paper. Let's move on to lettering for the day. So I haven't even written any of this in yet because it's all in spreadsheets right now. That's how hardcore I'm getting at the moment. Actually seeing a couple things I can check off on here. So today's lettering is Wabagong. Wabagong? Wabagong. I think I've used that word before in Alama's Love Lettering Challenge, but I don't remember what the context was. Becky Prentice asked, what happened to the Wheel of Fuckery? That was one of my favorite Plan With Me videos. Honestly, it's still here. I just have been really... Every time I've done a live Plan With Me, I haven't been able to get set up for it. It takes a little bit of extra time and kind of consideration. And most of the time recently, I have been like kind of rushing to even get started. So one of these days, hopefully in the summer when things are a little calmer here, I'll be able to bring it back and do some fun things with it. I really want to. I love it. It makes me so happy. Yeah, it's just, it can be really hard to get it ready to go when you're already frazzled. So that's why. It's still here, sitting next to my desk. Agent Felicia asked, have you ever used a daily planner? Would you consider trying the EC Petite planners? I have reviewed them. I am probably not going to use them. I've done daily pages in here, and I've used both a day designer and a simplified planner before. And honestly, I like looking at the week at a glance. So it just doesn't really do it for me. Very specifically, and this is the case with a lot of daily planners, they condense the weekend into one day. And I dislike that. The petite planners do it, the day designer does it, the simplified planner does it, and it pisses me off hard. I need a full day for each weekend day. So not likely. I mean, but never say never. Who knows, right? Shit might change in my life. All right, I'm going to start putting in my weekly pages. I don't think I'm going to have time to add anything from my power sheets on top of what I've already got going on. It's already going to be a pretty strap tight day. I'm not even sure when I'm going to edit this video. Let's just put it that way. There's a couple questions pertaining to my church that I'm going to do tomorrow just because I can answer them together. There's also a couple questions about podcasting. Same, I'll do those tomorrow, I think. I'm just kind of trying to lightning round some of the more one-off questions today. And I've got a couple of really interesting ones that I'm going to answer now while I'm doing this, if I can actually focus, which is not necessarily something that's going to happen. This one is from the story collector who asked me, what is the weirdest word you heard somebody say instead of calling it pooping or farting? She heard her niece say, uh-oh, mama, I need to toot, which I think is hilarious. Weird? I'm not sure if I've heard a really weird one. I personally really dislike the phrase pop a squat. It just sounds so, I don't even know. I don't even know why that bothers me so much, but it does. But my personal favorite to use, and it's one I use in the house a lot, and I think it grosses my kids out, and I don't even care, is drop the deuce. My sister sometimes will even just say, I'm gonna deuce. Like, just deuce is the verb as opposed to deuce is the noun. So probably way more information than you ever needed to hear about my family life. My Joy Journey, who said, when my son started 4th grade, my husband and I decided to go ahead and teach my son all the bad words and explain to him these words should not be said at inappropriate times. Did you go ahead and teach your kids, or did they learn on their own? They probably picked some of them up from me, but I guarantee you they learned some of them on their own. And I know this because very specifically, my older child came home one day all in a tizzy because a bunch of the boys in their 5th grade class had figured out some bad words, and Katie was just aghast. My writing got so sloppy here, and I have no idea why, but that's okay. Oh, pharmacy. All right, the last question I'm going to answer is, and I'm going to start collecting up all my thoughts here, is from Nat, who said, this recently started a long-distance relationship, and dating is a challenge enough when it isn't long-distance, and I've only had one serious relationship in my short life so far. I'm having trouble getting my legs in this new, fresh relationship, and I'm often afraid it won't last long because we're far apart, and we'll both be very busy with college and university students soon. Any suggestions to keeping it a happy and healthy relationship? Congratulations on the relationship, Nat. That's amazing. I have had a long-distance relationship before. I will tell you that the things that worked the best for me were setting up regular communication times, whether it is via like DMs or whether it is on the phone or whatever. Have time set aside as often as possible and schedule that time so that you know it's coming every day, and then both of you commit to it so that you always have time to connect. Consider having a nightly phone call or something to touch base with each other and commit to it as best as you can, because then it feels like you are both prioritizing each other. The second thing is that when you are together in person, to not get distracted, put your fucking phones away. Put your phones away, put your computers away, spend time together, just the two of you, where you are committed to talking to each other and seeing each other. Because if you only have so much time to be together in person, then you need to make sure that you are prioritizing being together over all the other bullshit that happens. And you're going to need to learn a lot of patience, because when you're not nearby someone all the time, a lot of situations can arise. They can arise in any relationship, but it becomes a lot more fraught when you're far apart from each other. So practice being patient, because you're going to need it. Remember that what you guys are doing is a little tough, and it takes time to figure out. Good luck. Good luck. And if anybody has any tips for Nat about long distance relationships or new relationships in general, please, 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 please leave them in the comments below. That is what I would love to hear from you today. Don't leave me questions, because I won't answer them I won't be starting taking new questions until tomorrow. And if I missed your question today, don't worry, I'll get it tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Leave relationship tips in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in tomorrow's Plan As You Go video.